Hey there, gamers at the Schwantz27 channel. It's DJ Vaughn on the Wicked Ones and Twos here to talk to you about our biggest update to Black Ops 4 yet, which is filled with more tricks than treats for Halloween. Since zombies got a lot of love in the last hotfix, and we're still working on Blackout with how to make quads on the VCR not stutter like Porky Pig, although it's a losing battle against immediately antiquated hardware, this patch mostly contains fixes for the multiplayer part of the game. This is our first pass at weapon balancing, although it was painfully obvious to anyone actually playing the game that guns needed some tweaks. We decided to wait on more data like those douche canoes that rely on analytics in sports instead of actually watching the fucking games. Anyways, the SMGs were bad in every single way for our game, so we decided to buff most of them, except for the Spitfire, which was the only one that could previously compete. The dual-wield operator Mog Sogs, which previously brought PTSD-esque flashbacks of the Akimbo FMG9s from Modern Warfare 3, got an accuracy nerf, and even though the GKS is objectively the worst SMG in the game, we thought that somehow the quad-shot operator mod needed increased time between bursts, even though nobody actually uses that gun for long enough to unlock it. The Cordite got a buff to extend all damage ranges like a dick on Cialis, as well as increase the overheat rate for the operator mod, and the MX9, which was a beast during the beta, so we nerfed it way too much for the full release, is getting a similar buff with damage range increases, but we're nerfing the high caliber attachment to prevent the possibility of 4-hit kills, because here at Treyarch, we want you to dump entire magazines into people in order to kill them. Even though SMGs were being outperformed at close range where they should excel, these changes do abso-fucking-lutely nothing to help combat that problem, but they just extend the range of awfulness for an increased distance for frustration with our lip service model of enacting change. Instead, we're gonna nerf all assault rifles with longer speed of aim down sight and scoped movement speed, as well as taking additional measures on both the ICR and Vapor XMG. For the ICR, we're reducing the already paltry headshot damage while making reload speed faster, because apparently for people using the inferior input devices on console that have the game aim for you, the gun that doesn't have any recoil is the least affected by aim assist, so it was too overpowered, versus having a mouse where the gun is the worst in its class because of its damage model. It's almost as if we should balance games differently for PC and console, but that's Beanox's problem, like trying to render Black Ops 3 on potatoes like the last generation consoles. In a completely unnecessary move, the Vapor XMG had a headshot and range reduction along with a nerf to the high caliber attachment to eliminate a 3-hit kill possibility, because fuck people that can actually aim. Next up are another set of weapons that get death threats sent to me on the daily, the snipers, which we made an across-the-board tweak to actually have your weapon reticle be centered, since you should be shooting where you aim after all. The paladin got a nerf with not being able to one-shot kill in the lower torso for a crash health boosted enemy, because we somehow thought that that was a good idea in the first place, to have anything but upper chest and headshots be one-hit kills. The other snipers, which are obviously shit compared to the paladin, like the outlaw and Kashka, got damage buffs and idle sway reductions, and the SDM got a clip size buff along with that idle sway reduction. So no, even though the lack of flinch and lack of penalty for missing the first shot, allowing for quick follow-up shots when the time to kill for other weapons has been made longer in this game, the snipers actually got buffed for the most part, and the problem with these weapons are exacerbated with these changes. Hopefully this makes up for that DSR 50 nerf, so suck it, Red Gunners. We also made some nerfs to weapons that are actually very good, but most people don't use them because assault rifles are so easy to use and kill just as quickly. Since it is a Treyarch game after all, LMGs are pretty strong, so the Titan got a reduced headshot damage and hipfire accuracy nerf, along with a movement nerf with the stock attachment. The VKM 750 had a movement and damage nerf, and the Hades crossbar operator mod has the best of both nerfs with a hipfire accuracy and movement nerf. The Swordfish tactical rifle had a high caliber nerf to reduce the possibility of a single burst kill as a big middle finger to people that can actually point and shoot correctly, as well as reduce the extra clip size for the pentaburst mod. The KBR 223 was the black sheep of the tactical rifle, so its range is increased, as well as a slight nerf to the operator mod fire rate to combat this change. You already knew that pistols were going to be strong in this game because we never learned from the B23R or RK5 in games past, so the RK7 burst pistol had to have a nerf to its burst speed. The shotguns were way too strong for secondaries because we can't make this game Modern Warfare 2 all over again due to the amount of fun everyone had back then, so we nerfed the one-hit kill range for the MOG 12 with choke and fixed some visual bugs with the operator mods of both shotguns. Lastly, we made some across-the-board changes on certain attachments, and since they're only available for certain weapons, good luck figuring out what this means for your favorite guns without a spreadsheet, since this game is designed by math nerds instead of lovers of FPS games. Grip 2 had a reduced flinch mitigation, and the suppressor got reduced damage fall-off ranges, which is kind of impossible to tell just by reading these notes if they're actually nerfs or buffs due to the frowned upon double negatives. Also, we increased the ADS recoil for the ELO sight while buffing, aka reducing recoil, for the hollow, dual zoom, and recon optics to encourage people to use other weapon sights, despite the fact that just a normal red dot should be sufficient and all you ever need, because we like to add redundancy for the sake of false variety. The specialists also got some changes, but not the ones that everyone needs to make them less AIDS than Freddie Mercury in the 1990s. Ajax's 9-bang didn't get any changes, much to the surprise of everyone that loves being ineffective for multiple seconds at a time, but the ballistic shield will take longer to earn and has less resistance to explosives aimed at the front of the shield, which still makes people nope the fuck out whenever they see one, just like that toddler gif. We also unnecessarily nerfed Crash with reducing the teammate ammo pack pickup bonus from 50 points to 25 because earning score streaks in our game is apparently too easy, in spite of the fact that there's less points to go around than in any other previous Call of Duty game, and you get the same amount of points for an OBJ kill as an armored user kill, but more on gear later though. Recon got a nerf to his sensor dart's duration time, and finally in nerfs, Nomad, somehow even more annoying than Riley Dog, got a 10% reduction in health so that some guns that aren't LMGs might be able to finish the job in only one clip. Speaking of more than one clip, even though that's the case of Torque's Barricade, we somehow thought it was good to make it even stronger with a hit point increase, as well as increasing its earn rate, since everyone loves having sections of the map cut off just to fuck with those flankers. Other buffs were given to Prophet's Tempest projectile speed and chain distance, which you can use to annoy the shit out of people by not killing them once down, and then when they get back up, shooting them again, like that taser scene in The Hangover. And Firebreak's Purifier has been buffed to what it was in Black Ops 3, which was the most overpowered thing in the entire game, so get ready for those Mortal Kombat toasty emotes to come out. Seraph, despite being the worst specialist in the game, got no love, and neither did Battery, because it's fitting that the only female characters in the game are ignored. Now, we didn't only adjust the weapon part of your creator class, which you still can't access past custom class number 8, since here at Treyarch we can't actually add past that number, but we made some tweaks to perks and gear. For gear, Stim Shot was nerfed to increase their health regen time, because we can't have people rushing in our game, nor encourage steroid abuse, because it's bad enough with Adderall as it is. The acoustic sensor was nerfed for a range reduction, and armor got a slight nerf with head and upper chest shots with certain attachments that granted bonuses on them that didn't previously count. Maybe this will force equipment charge, making those support noob annoyances easier to earn, and the ComSec device, in order to use our quote devastating score streaks, more appealing, instead of pissing people off by winning one gunfight by default with the armor gear. For perks, we made Dead Silence actually more like the perk it's named after, with a range reduction for footsteps, and having Engineer not reveal the extraction helicopter in Heist for the 3 people that actually play that game mode. More on Heist, as we also increased XP with that game mode to entice more people to play it, as well as a buff to the kill XP and free-for-all, along with adjusting spawns for TDM, Dom, Hardpoint, free-for-all, and Control. So, in other words, every single respawn game mode, because they somehow were even worse on full release than in beta. We added a limited time game mode with Gun Game to test out all of those new weapon changes, along with adding a Mercenary Deathmatch Mosh Pit playlist, which will be as popular as Tuesday Night Bingo at the Elks Lodge, and Chaos chaos domination, bringing back 6v6 with 3-second capture times and 150-point rounds, so that this way you could have 2 people per team running wire and microwaves, which really undercuts our symmetrical 3-lane map designs. Since we always forget about these modes, even though they're probably more playable in this game than any other previous Call of Duty with a long time to kill, hardcore TDM and kill confirmed are now 6v6 like the core variant, as well as having hardcore users actually have their progress tracked towards challenges, because at Treyarch, math is in our strong suit. Speaking of challenges, we reduced the range for those long shot medals since our maps are the size of my dick, due to the nature of removing 2 players per lobby with 5v5, and for Blackout, we added the remaining specialist character skin challenges. There's a nice post on Reddit for anyone that wants to play like a fuck trumpet for some matches in order to play dress up in an FPS game. Wait, what? Users are reporting their operator mods aren't working on their custom classes? Well, I guess that's one way to nerf the Akimbo Sogs, but how can the community test the majority of the changes in the patch if they can't use them? Shit. Well, I guess we gotta roll out a hotfix soon. 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards after all. Hold on, wait a second, what? There's tons of complaints about the Contraband system progress, including giving zombie players nothing towards that progress, and the fact that it's gained based on time played, about 50 minutes or so per tier for 200 tiers. That equates to almost 7 full days of playtime for only 52 days of challenges that will be active instead of XP based, so what you do during games actually matters? I guess they moved on from the fact that the multiplayer beta had 60 Hz servers and the game launched with 20 for Parody with Blackout, and we recently put out a hotfix to quell those complaints for 62 Hz servers. That's why we now have a watermark on those theater mode videos that renders your old gameplays useless again. So this way, all of those posts with our shoddy hit detection can be explained away by saying in not so many words that theater mode is really fucked up and it's not the actual version of the game, even though it actually is the server's representation of the match, not the end user's experience. So it basically replicates our bad lag compensation algorithm. I should try out for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics with all of those mental gymnastics. Anyways, how else is Activision, spelt with a $, going to get people to eventually spend the COD points that they got for pre-ordering the game on buying tiers of the stream in order to get their stock prices back up after they got $500+ million of revenue in 3 days, yet investors somehow expected more even though it's not 2012 anymore when Call of Duty ruled the industry? I mean, come on. To borrow a quote from Spaceballs, Activision just isn't doing this for money. They're doing it for a shitload of money. And they want all of the money, not just some of the money, and we're complicit in engineering a game that's way too difficult to grind out, so you'll eventually need to pay your way in a full-price game that somehow still also has the audacity to charge for a season pass. And you guys thought you were just gonna get away with us just giving items that were previously monetized. That's the best joke I've heard all day. Well, let me get back to fixing all the bugs that our latest patch just introduced.